just the facts, ma'am?
Well, I think the major takeaways are that we in America built freedom of the press and we built freedom of speech. And it's a very sad commentary that you cannot trust massive media outlets like the major 3-4 TV channels, CNN, CNBC, and things like that, that we know that there is no reliable source for mail, for information. There's no reliable source for mail either. And it part of my strong underlying theme to saving America is that we have got to reform the bureaucratic state. We've got to do things differently. And again, even though I'm a little bit happy that the Republicans kept the Senate, the reality is they did it by keeping people who are in many terms, like Mitch McConnell and John Cornyn here in Texas. And my feeling about democracy is we need to increase the turn. We have got to have term limits. And it does display something that I have spoken about before, and I talk about in my book, which is one of the reasons that you have to bring in term limits is because the power of the incumbency is overwhelming. And a great example of this is that Senator Lindsey Graham in South Carolina, who is not a strong politician. If you listen to this guy talk, he's not anybody's idea of a great speaker, a great thinker. But they spent $104 million to unseat Lindsey Graham. One state, one senator, his opponent spent $104 million, and Lindsey Graham was easily reelected. 2 points here. One, apparently spending a lot of money on nasty TV ads isn't working nearly as well as it might. That's and whatever. And number two, the power of the incumbency is rather amazing. And again, it's the reason why when people say to me, well, Dave, it's a democracy. People don't have to keep reelecting Mitch McConnell or Lindsey Graham. They could elect other people. The reality is the power of the incumbency is so overwhelming that without term limits, we cannot balance that out. So again, it's 2020 all year.
Great thought. Great thought. So next week we'll have even more to report on this election.
Hopefully.
And hopefully we can announce who our next president is. So
that would be great.
David, thank you very much. Let me tell people again about your book, The Decline of America. It's a book that's bipartisan, and it takes the very same evaluation points and applies them to all the presidents from Woodrow Wilson to Barack Obama. Very interesting to see what some of the other, and honestly, it's comforting to me to realize, if living in today, you somehow start feeling like, we've lost our country, we've lost democracy, we've lost all this. But they had some other pretty serious events that took place through the years, and seeing how they handled them, how the president did, and seeing the grade he got, which normally was not that great, is very interesting reading, and it definitely helps you feel more secure about what's going on in our country today. So stay tuned for more information on how to get your copy. It is available on Amazon. And so we will be talking more about some opportunities to get it for 99 cents on the weekend after Thanksgiving. Thank you all for joining us today. Feel free to share the podcast with other people. If you're watching it right now with Facebook Live, then thank you for joining us. And please feel free to put comments. If you're watching it later on Facebook, or if you're watching it on one of the other podcast platforms, iTunes, and then iHeartRadio, some of the others, then we'd love to have you subscribe and make comments as well there. So thank you for joining us. And David, thank you again for your insight into this crazy world that we're living in today. And
Thank you, Sandy.
We'll talk to you next week.
You bet. See you soon.